So first of all, a little bit about my introduction. So my name is Mohammed Adnan, and I have totally 15 plus years of experience in various Microsoft technologies. And the industry experience which I have worked is mainly on manufacturing, import and export, supply chain, construction, and workforce management. So totally I have 6 plus years of experience in Power BI alone. I have my own YouTube channel as well, which name is TAIK 18, and which consists of almost 450 plus videos and 60 hours of content almost, and which is mainly focused on Power BI and Power Platform, SQL, Excel, and a lot more. So if you wish to do that, you can just go and check out that channel as well. And when it comes to my awards and certifications, so I'm a Microsoft MVP data platform and Microsoft certified trainer and the data analyst associate. So if you want to connect to me, so we can connect through these social platforms, through LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And my ID is Mohammed Adnan T. So now today's session is all about the reality of bookmark. So why we need to consider this one? So basically, as far as my throat experience, I have seen most of the people's a little bit of confusion about the usage of the bookmarks. So we can see all those things in this today's session. So basically, now you can see this is a sales analysis report which I have made here, and I just need to realign this one. This is fine. All right. So this is basic report, which is based on the adventure works from Microsoft dataset, and I have used this one. So now, first of all, as a part of bookmark thing, you need to go to view in Power BI and also open up the bookmark pane. And for your information, right now I'm using the February 2022 version of Power BI desktop, and this visualization pane is now enabled by default. So you can see this new visual experience in the visual pane. All right, so now, first of all, in order to do that, create a bookmark, because I just want to cover it from the basic and then wrap up things quickly. You need to click on the selection pane and you will see the list of available visuals on this page. So even though if you see here, most of the cards are not named here, but the good practice is you need to rename each and every visuals on your page, on your project, because it will be easy for you to identify which visual you are targeting out to make a bookmark. Not even a bookmark, even if you want to look into performance analyzer, then also it will be hard for you to identify which visual is taking how much of time if you haven't renamed that visuals. So just a tip, right? So now I just want to create a bookmark, right? So basically, if I click on add here on the bookmark, right, so it creates a bookmark. By default it gives a name, and if you want to rename it here, you can just double click here, you can just give any name here. So I just want to type here as a show. Okay, so now if you click here, you see a couple of options here. Let me zoom this a bit. Yeah, so here we have update, rename, delete, group, data, display, and current page. So these three things actually the main topic which I want to focus in this session, because we have just 15 minutes of slot now. So I want to cover only these three topics, even though we are going to cover this also, but the major impact is this one. So what these things will do actually. Right. So now the thing is I want to create a slicer. I'm adding a slicer here and I'm just adding a sales territory group here. But this is coming from sales territory and I'm going to add that sales territory here. All right, so I just want to add the background of it. Slicer settings. So visuals values, let me increase this a bit. 20 size, and here we have the background color. I don't need any background color here. Slicer header, slicer setting. Yeah, so I want to switch it to horizontal here. Just want to make it easy here, and then filter it out the blank values from this one. So on the filter pane, this blank. All right. All right. So this is the kind of bookmark options which we have here. And now I just want to enable this option. If I select anything on the bookmark option here, I mean in the slicer, then it's going to filter all these records here, right? Yeah, this is fine. So most of the people are looking after a kind of resetting this filter. We can set up something else that if you click off a button, it has to reset everything on the page itself. So if you really want to do that, that is also totally fine, which can be done using bookmark itself. So what I'm going to do now is, let's say I just want to focus only on these two visuals, just an example, right? So I'm selecting these two visuals, and here in the show bookmark, I want to give it as reset as the name of the bookmark. And if I click here, right, and if I zoom this one, so here by default it is all visuals. So right now I don't want to refresh all the visuals at that time. So I'm just focusing only on these two visuals. So I need to click on the selected visuals. So you can do it on selecting these two visuals on this one, or also if you open up this selection pane, there also you can see these two visuals here, right? This will be helpful. That's why I said earlier that you need to rename all your visuals. Then well, you can easily identify which visual need to select for this thing. If you look at here, these two are in a different location, but even though with the help of name, you can select these two visuals, and then you can click here and also click on selected visuals, and then you need to click on update here. If you notice one thing, it has enabled this one. Let me zoom this again. So it is enable data, display, and also the current page. So basically, if you click here, the data is basically the filters on the filter panes and whatever you're filtering it here, and also the drill through options. And the third is the sort state. So if you have a table and if you want to sort it something else, or even in the visual, if you are sorting it by value or if you're sorting it by region, so all these things can be state. So those are the states which can capture when you enable this data tab. So the display is actually about if you want to show that visual or if you don't want to show that visual, that is the one, the display, apply visual display state, right? The current page. So basically it switches the page. Current page is actually the page which you are right now working on. If you see here right now, I'm in the sales tab. So it means when I use the bookmark and click on current page, right? If this is enabled, then this will actually act as a page navigation. So if I enable these three options and then also the selected visuals and click on update here, this actually I want to update these visuals, right? So click here, and now if I go to this one, which is just another page, and if I click on this one, so let me rename this actually reset sales. Okay, so if I go back to this one, product visuals, and if I click on this visual, see if it just redirected to this page, right? This is correct. So this is redirected to the sales tab, and the reason is because of this current page. And now if I enable this one and erase this option, the sales territory to be everything. And again, if I select these two visuals, this and this, and click on this update here, but this time I'm just taking out this option, the current visual. If you see here, the display is tick, data is also tick here, and the current page is not tick here. So I'm clicking on update now, but make sure you do it correctly. Update here, sometimes it will not work properly because of the clicking what we are doing it here, but usually it works. So again, if I go to this manual option here, and before to that, I want to show you one thing. See here, the bookmark which I need to filter actually, right? So I'm just selecting it to be Europe now. For an example, the Europe is filtered here, and I'm selecting these two visuals, and then clicking on here. Yeah, everything is fine here, so no need to do it here. So right now the bookmark what we have created is without any selection, right? And now I'm selected to Europe filtration here. If I go to this tab, product visual manually, and if I click on reset sales, so this time it is not redirecting into the sales page. That's what I said. So the current page actually act as a page navigation, even though we have a default page navigation option in Power BI, but with the help of bookmark, you can also use the page navigation also. So right. But what will happen? What has happened if I click on this one and without this page navigation? So if I go to this sales tab manually, if you see here, the data is still there and it is not applied here. So even though if I just remove this one for now, let's do it one more time. So now everything is fine here. And if I select this slicer, because I have just used this and this, right? So if I click on this, if I click on this, and even if I click on this slicer, so these three visuals and click here, I'm not selecting the current page. I'm just clicking on update now. So click here and update, click here and update here. And if I go to this, now if I want to select something else here, Europe, and it is filtered to Europe here. So the main purpose of this one is to reset, right? If I click on this one, this actually reset this option. So again, if I filtered it to Europe, and if I go to this product visuals, and if I click on this reset sales options, then nothing happens here as a page navigation. But if I go to this sales table, it is now reset those filters here. So even though it is not going to that page kind of page navigation, but this reset option, it actually applies on that page, right? Just want to recap. See, the data tab is enabled and the display is also enabled, but only the current page is not enabled. It means even though this will apply those logics, those bookmark options to this particular page, which you have done that, but it is not going to redirect it to that page if you are not on that page. So that is the one which you need to make sure the current page actually will help you to do a kind of page navigation. Right now is all about the data, right? So if you don't take this option, then this will not actually happen, right? If I select this one for an example, let's create one more tab, one more bookmark, and give it a name as a data bookmark. And now nothing is selected here. And if I click on these three again, sales slicer and this one and this one. After that, if I click this one and remove this data option, okay, and also I'm just enabling these selected visuals here. And here I'm going to update now. So nothing is filtered here. Even the data is not available here, and I'm just clicking on update here, right? So if I filter something else on this page, for an example, like Europe, and if I click on data tab, nothing will happen. The reason is because the data is not captured when you created the bookmark. Because of the reason is you have not enabled these options, right? To capture those information while creating the bookmark, then only you need to enable this option. So this will be helpful if you want to reset something else to your default state. For an example, if you are keeping this, when you want to load the report at the first time to the end user, it has to be without any selection, just in case. And user does do any kind of filtration here on the page, and also like these filtrations they have done, then if they want to reset everything whatever they have filtered, even though we have option in Power BI service, then we can click on reset to default. But if you want to give within the page itself as a kind of user experience, then you can create with the help of bookmark itself. So how it can be done is basically you need to enable this data tab option without any selection. So for an example, if I remove these selections here, right now this is on the default state, and now I'm going to use the same bookmark, but here this time I want to tick this option data. And if I click here, then data is enabled now, and I'm clicking on update here. I'm clicking on update here. Okay, so now I want to filter something else on this page, and I'm also now filtering to this one, right? So everything is filtered here. Now if I click on data tab, it's actually let me filter again. If I click on data tab, it is filtering. Let's do one more time. So if I select this one, yeah, the reason is because I used the selected visuals, right? So that is the reason. So let's forget about this selections. Everything is fine now. And now here this time, if you want to reset the entire page, you need to make sure you don't have to select the selected visuals. You have to select these all visual options. So click here, and all visuals here, data is also enabled here, current page is also enabled here, and I'm going to update here, update here. Okay, now, so if I select anything here, and if I again select anything here, so it is filtered now. Now, if I want to reset something else, then I can click on these bookmark options, then this reset it to the first initial state. So But even though this is on the bookmark page, this is not going to be visible for the end users, how they are going to do that. So in that case, what we can do is we can add a button here. Even though we have a navigation pane, which is in the Power BI, the newly introduced one 2 months back. But also, if you want to do it for a single one, we can use the regular previous method, which is insert buttons, and then you can click on the blank buttons. And I want to minimize these things. This is the button one. And also you can use the image if you require the reset option image, you can do that. So clicking here on the format options, and here we have this action. And in the action, let me zoom this one. In the action, we have kind of things like back, bookmark, drill through, page navigation, QA, and web URL. So here I'm going to select on bookmark, and this will give the list of available bookmarks which I have. So I'm going to select this data one. Select here, and these two options is not for particular bookmark option, this is for something other. So we have done that, and moving on to the shape here, and then rotation, style, title. This is a new format pen, so I'm just finding out where is the option of style. I think, yeah, text here. So I'm going to set here and reset. Okay, so let me increase the font here. All right, so this is the reset button. So even though if I select anything else here on the North America and here also in the Canada, so everything is here. And now if I click on reset options, this reset the dashboard entirely, right? And even it also states this option, which is the filter pen was open when the time of I created this bookmark. So that only, even though if I minimize this filter pane and do any kind of filtration here, and if I click on reset again, it also not only the reset entire dashboard, it also open up this filter pane. So this is the thing. So these are the two things which I majorly want to cover in these sessions, which is the main thing which most of the people are confused about this thing about the data and the current page. So display is actually nothing but we just want to show that visual or not. That's a simple thing, but the data and the current page. So just a quick recap. So if you want to reset something else, then you need to make sure you select this all visuals, and then the data has to be enabled, and then you have to do whatever the default setting you want to do, and then create a bookmark, update the bookmark, and add a button or image on the page, and also assign that bookmark to that image or button. That's it. And the next thing is about current page is about current pages act as a page navigations, and you can also use that if you are going into a different page and you want to go back to this page, you can also make use of that option. I think we are on time. If there is any questions, I'm happy to take that.